All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome to the X Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free, 1-800-610-7035. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X Zone Radio TV. And our main website, where you can listen to the X Zone 724-365, is www.xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour is Kate Hellmer. She is the CEO of Enosphere and a renowned energetic expert. She merges scientific data with energetic techniques to teach her clients how to change the energy in their lives and expect miracles. She has worked with Fortune 500 executives to medical professionals and teaches her techniques in seminars and video classes at your10keys.com. That's your10keys.com. Her new book, 50 Energetic Prayers, is an extremely interesting look at how to make sure what you say for your prayers, affirmations, and even the name you use for God is the best for you. Joining me now is Kate Hellmer. And Kate, welcome to the X Zone.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Kate, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up, I'm an intuitive energy specialist and a business strategist. Mm-hmm. So I grew up in the Hollywood, California area during dating myself, but during the 60s and 70s where it, kind of had the old-fashioned roots, but then a lot of new, interesting information coming out. I got into business and banking and finance, etc. And then I always used my intuition when dealing with customers. And I would start teaching Fortune 500 executives how to read the room energetically, not just body language, but energetically. And then how to change things, what words to use, what not to use, how to say things, how to design their contracts, etc. And it just grew from there. And then I had a client that had been an old friend, and she asked me to put together a foundation for her in regards to the energy world. And in order to do that, I did a lot of research into her business, etc. And my gosh, I was stunned at how much scientific data there was in regards to energy, energy in and around us. And that just led me right into helping and teaching all kinds of people and letting people know what you can do with energy around you.
So how is the energy around us actually measured, and how can someone see the energy around us?
Well, different people can see it. I think everybody has different gifts. Okay. And so consequently, some people can see it, some people can feel it. And I've had people who have, tried to look at auras and could never do that. But then when I say to them, yes, but do you ever feel, you walk into a room or you're sitting in, I think everybody's had this experience, you're sitting in a meeting and the boss's boss walks in. You just feel the collective difference of the energy in the room. But the question is, how do you protect yourself from that affecting you? And then how can you change it so that you actually benefit from not only having the boss's boss there, but also, not being nervous and being able to speak up, etc. And so I teach people how to immediately, I think of it as like a bubble, to bubble themselves with their energy, and then clean their energy by just saying, I clean, clear, and protect my energy. Think of inside that bubble. And I have had people come back to me, so many, saying, I cannot believe the difference in just doing that, whether it's dealing with family members or business people or whatever. Once you start doing that on a daily basis,
right.
just those simple little words, it's amazing.
And, of course, if you can read other people's energy, they can read yours as well.
Correct. That's a really scary thing when you start finding out that scientifically they've proven collective consciousness, being able to feel other people's energy and thinking. So exactly. It's not that they can read your mind, but it's similar to reading body language.
Right.
It's not perfect, but they can read your energy. And so, you might not be able to see somebody's energy, but if you can protect yours, and then you can start reading other people's, to see if they're on the same page as you.
All right, stand by. Kate, you and I have to take our first commercial break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Exonation Kate Hellmer is our guest this hour. www.your10keys.com. That's www.your10keys.com. And we'll be back on the other side of this 2-minute break as we continue here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Welcome back, everyone. Kate Hellmer is our special guest, and Kate is the author of 50 Energetic Prayers. The website is www.your10keys.com. All right, so let me ask you a question, Kate. How does one start working with energy if you've never worked with it before?
Well, even if you've never worked with energy, you've probably been affected by it, like we were talking about in meetings or on a daily basis. If you think of maybe a song, you turn on the radio and there's a song you don't like, and immediately, how fast can I change this button? Or there's a song you love, the first day of summer, hearing a Beach Boys song. How cool is that? It just puts almost everyone in a great mood.
Well, sure.
So it's not just your energy, it's the things around you that you can help change your energy. So it's important to have at least a general awareness of how you can change your energy. And it's by songs, it's by your atmosphere, it's everything you do. But I think the most important thing, Rob, is your actual intention. Your general awareness and then your intention. Meaning that if you have a general awareness that, okay, I have my energy, somebody else has their energy, I need to protect mine, not with a wall necessarily, but maybe think of it as a filtered protection. So I want only beneficial energy coming into me and then block everything else. It's like a basketball game. You only want the ball to go into the basket. You want to block everything else on the other end, you know? You want to block any energy that is not beneficial for you. And so by cleaning, clearing, and protecting your energy on a daily basis, that's the first step. The second step that's scientifically been proven for both your physical and your energetic is, of course, meditating. And everybody either loves meditating or they think, oh, my God, how boring. But when you think of just being able to relax for 15 minutes, taking a deep breath, whether you're watching waves or whatever it is, if it can help you and your health and your whole being, it's a great thing. And then the third thing, I think, is working with your words, making sure that you're saying the words that you want to and that will get you to your goal. I've had clients say to me, well, I don't understand what, do I have to be a better person or something, or can I just get on with my life? Do I have to stop everything? And it's no, you don't. It's just figuring out what your goals are and then figuring out what's beneficial for you and how to get there.
Let me ask you something. You were talking about cleaning and clearing energy. How do you clean energy?
basically, it's your intention and your words. So many people think that, you need sage or actually one great way to clean your energy is to go to church or temple.
Okay.
It's a, you have to, if you feel good there, a lot of people don't like that. It's not comfortable for them. It's what makes you comfortable. Go to the beach and watch the waves. And with the intention of, you know what, I'm just going to relax my energy and I'm just going to let the breeze clear it all out. Songs, music, a lot of that can help clear your energy. Now, a lot of people that contact us say, that works, but not completely. And that's when I tell them to bubble themselves and just say, I clear my energy with that direct intention.
You also mentioned meditation, and I've heard so many people over the years talk about meditation. And I guess one of the biggest questions I have is, if meditation works so well, why isn't meditation inherent in our daily life? Why isn't this built into us, like breathing and the deep breathing exercises and just clearing our minds? Why do we need to be taught this if it's so good and if it works for us?
The first example, Rob, that comes to mind is brushing your teeth. For years, people didn't know that they should brush their teeth.
Right.
But we now know that brushing our teeth is really important in our daily life.
Yeah. I understand where you're going with the example. However, we don't have to tell our heart to beat. We don't have to tell ourselves to breathe, and we don't have to tell ourselves to think. So why would we have to tell ourselves that we should meditate?
I actually don't think we have to tell ourselves if we are connecting with ourselves. So if you're paying attention to your intuition and you are just sitting there relaxing, having a glass of wine sometime and by yourself, you don't have loud music blaring and you're not talking to a lot of people, but you're just, in your thoughts and you just relaxing. What ends up happening is you kind of clear your mind with all of your thoughts and you end up getting to, what you want to do and where you want to go. And I believe that's a form of meditation.
Would going to church and praying be a part of meditation?
Absolutely, if your intention is that, meaning that, I think everybody's experienced, you go to church or temple and there are people you see and you just can't get your energy wrapped around concentrating that day or you're thinking about what you're supposed to be doing on Monday morning for work or whatever. In that case, it would not be a meditation. However, I think many of us have experienced, you go to church and it's just one of those days that clicks and you're concentrating on the prayers, you're letting the energy flow through you, and you're just relaxed, and you come out of there feeling enlightened. I think that's the word. And then I would absolutely say yes.
So with all this modern technology we have, the every handheld device, which is a smartphone, you go into work, you're inundated with data. You go home, you're inundated with data. It seems that wherever you go, I know in my world, 7/24, 365, data has to be part of your life. There's no getting away from it. How does this affect our energy fields?
Question back at you. Is it the data itself or the electronic energy that's flowing through us? Which are you talking about, or both?
I'd say both, because one is part and parcel of the other.
And I agree with you. I think the data itself, on a conscious level, sometimes stops us from connecting to our inner self. We're concentrating on the data, concentrating on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and you don't take that 5 minutes to relax and just think through your day, and etc. On the electronic basis of the actual energy going through your body, I don't think they've proven a direct connection in many cases to all of this energy flowing through us, but I think there's enough indirect stuff there that we should at least be conscious that there's a lot of energy flowing through us. And so to eat healthier, do whatever we can to counteract that might help out a little bit. I know when I run people through, I teach people not only to connect themselves, but what I call body taps, meaning that we get a lot of messages to ourselves without, from our intuition, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
So people will get a little faster heartbeat. It's usually their thymus gland, or they'll get a zing down their finger or something like that, and they'll come to me and say, I have no idea what this means. So I help them connect to their intuition to start figuring out what those messages are. And many times, obviously, everyone should always go to the doctor and figure out what it is, but a lot of times they'll come to me afterwards and say that doctors can't figure out what it is. Can we? And it's usually something about their life, like how to get back on track and to get to their own goals. It's not just, you need to be the best person on earth or anything. It's to get to their own goals in an easier way. And one of them I have seen over and over, and, I'm just like everyone else. I drink diet soda sometimes and the rest of it. But one of them that I've seen over and over is to try and eat a little healthier, whatever that means for the person. I mean, I've seen it mean different things for different people. And so some people feel better with, some carbos, and some people feel better with meat. Some people feel better with a lot of vegetables. But overall, I've seen that people know what feels good for them. And if they do it in a balanced way, you can't eat just all vegetables, for instance. You have to have protein. So to do it in a balanced way, a lot of times that kind of clears out your energy.
So what you eat also affects your energy fields?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What about vegetarians? How does it affect them?
I would say vegetarians, the biggest thing with vegetarians, and, I live in Los Angeles, so a lot of people are not just vegetarians, but vegans. They eat only raw vegetables. I am not a nutritionist, so obviously it's up to them and their doctor. But one of the things that I let them know is, you have to be really careful being a vegetarian. You have to make sure that you're getting your protein somehow, because, you talk to hairstylists in Los Angeles and they'll say, oh my gosh, the biggest problem, I can tell the second a vegetarian walks in the door that isn't taking care of their protein because their hair's falling out.
Interesting.
So again, it's balance. Yeah. It's always balance.
You and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. Kate, please stand by. Exonation, our guest this hour, is Kate Hellmer. The name of her book is 50 Energetic Prayers, an enthralling exploration of the power of the words and sounds you use in your prayers and affirmations. And when we come back, we're going to talk to Kate about prayers and affirmations and how they can make a difference, a positive difference, in your life. This is the X Zone. My name is Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free 800-610-7035. Our email address, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. And, of course, our main website where you can listen to the X-Zone 724, 365 is www.xzoneradiotv.com. Kate and I will be back on the other side of this news break. 2-minute break, yeah, that was the first one. News break as we continue here in the X-Zone, where we investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology, and heard around the world on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, the Good News Radio Network, and many other networks, land stations, and satellite programming providers. We'll be back. Don't go away.
This is Elizabeth Joyce with Stargazing week of November 3rd through the 8th, 2014 with the X-Zone. Are you still adjusting to setting back the clocks? At least we all got that extra hour sleep. Sunday is a soft day, one to rest and relax. At least we're through Mercury retrograde and 2 eclipses. The tone changes on Monday with an Aries moon, as we expect upsets on Election Day when the moon aligns with Uranus. Should prove to be interesting. Focus this week is on the full moon on Taurus on Thursday the 6th. The full moon is opposed by Saturn, Venus, and the Sun. You will be called into your emotional depths in order to restructure your values. This full moon is complicated and can be stubborn, intensely sensual, and may uncover feelings you have about relationships, secret attitudes, and what you've been hiding about your money issues. Taurus rules the throat, so is there anything you've had a difficult time swallowing? This has been going on all year, but we are in the final stages of Saturn in Scorpio, so it's time to clean up the theater and get ready for the new show, commencing on Christmas Eve when Saturn moves into Sagittarius. Beginning on the weekend, assertive Mars aligns with karma-giving and rebirthing Pluto, and this can bring in some negative, violent, and destructive moments. Give a wide berth on the road, as well as to people who are impatient or angry. Mercury plunges back into Scorpio as well, bringing in communications that are secretive, manipulative, and accompanies the green-eyed monster, Scorpio. This is the best time to file for bankruptcy or foreclosure, as well as to be sure that your insurance coverage is up to date. On the positive side, you can apply your physical energy through meditation and visualization to transform your life at core levels. Pay attention to any anger and resentment that appear within you, and don't try to force any issues as others may have the upper hand. The moon moves into Gemini on the weekend and brings talking, communications, lots of short trips, quick errands while you're keeping on the move. It's not the weekend to begin any focused projects, so just relax and take in a movie. Ideas are flowing now, but the ideas may not manifest.
And for more information about Elizabeth Joyce, or if you'd like to contact her for a one-on-one consultation, www.new-visions.com. That's new-visions.com. And I don't know. She was dead right about the elections. She was right about the moon. And mind you, I don't know how any time could be good for a bankruptcy. All right. Exonation, my guest this hour is Kate Hellmer. And Kate is the author of a very interesting book that makes a lot of sense, 50 Energetic Prayers. And Kate, I was wondering if you could tell us how an energetic prayer works in with our energy.
Sure. Well, a lot of people forget that words have power, and that, they alters people's perception of you. They can affect what you attract in your life. They can attract your mood when you say certain words.
Sure.
And so consequently, I created a non-denominational compilation of the most 50 energetic, powerful prayers that I found worldwide and put them together. It started out as just a book for clients because clients would come to me and say, I wasn't raised in a church or temple, or I was, but I'm not connecting with that. So what can I say? What am I supposed to say to connect? And so that's how it started out. And the other thing I noticed, Rob, was that I would ask a client, what have you been saying? Your affirmations and your prayers. And they would start talking, and then they would use the term, whatever term, for God. And I could see an energy hit or feel an energy hit from them as to whether that was positive or negative for them. Meaning that they would maybe use the word God, and I would notice that they would use God in swearing also. Yeah. And it was not working. So 1 minute they're swearing using the word, which for some people, I have to tell you, some people it's not a big deal. It's just, it hits their energy just as a word. But other people, it hits their energy very hard. So it depends on the person, and you have to figure out for yourself which it does for you. But what I absolutely noticed for everyone is that if someone uses the word God in swearing and then turns right around that day, that month, whatever, and prays using the same word, it's not as beneficial because you're using it in both a negative and positive manner. I did find that if they used a different word for God, and I put over 50 of them in the book, there are lots though, Almighty, Creator, highest positive energy. There's a ton. You can make up your own for God. If they used a different term for that, they not only had a better energy, but they also didn't connect to the collective consciousness, which science has already proven, and collective consciousness for God is not as high as other words for God, because a lot of people around the globe use God as a swear word. So to just change that word meant a lot in their energy, and then to pick a prayer that really meant something. And it's just not with my book. I mean, there are a lot of different prayer books out there that people can pick up, and my suggestion is that you just read through them and see which ones you connect with. People are going to church or temple. I'm sure that during the service, they're like, I really love that prayer. And then another one they're just not as connected to. And that's your intuition saying, you know what? Say the one you're connected to a lot more. Say that one. Because it'll help change your energy, help change you around, and you'll connect to it more. You want to be able to get the goosebumps on the back of your neck or whatever it is to be able to connect.
Are we really changing energy in reality, or is it all psychosomatic?
My first reaction is, does it matter if it's helping?
Well, yeah, it does. It really does, because what you're saying, if I understand correctly, if we use certain words, it affects us in a negative manner. If we use certain words, it affects us in a positive manner. And if this is in fact the work of the words, that's one thing. But if it's a reaction within the person who believes that the change is happening, then it's psychosomatic.
Well, I would say it's a combination of two. First, I don't think, just like natural items, people use stones and crystals, etc. And for the most part, it's not necessarily, the stone or the crystal is not changing. It's how your energy is reacting to that stone or crystal. And I would say it's the exact same thing for words. It's not the power of the actual word. It's how your energy reacts to that word, number one. And then number two, the collective consciousness for that word. So you think of swear words, and there is absolutely a collective consciousness out there in regards to swear words, in regards to positive words. Science has proven all of that already. So they've
proven it to a certain extent. It hasn't been proved unequivocally. And scientific data is only as good as the testing and the system of testing that it's undergoing. I'm sure that if we were to ask different scientists as far as the collective consciousness when it comes to words, I'm sure we'd have a varied opinion on it.
I think there is. I agree with you on that. And that's why I tell everyone to test it out yourself.
Sure.
And I believe that in regards to words. I believe that in regards to medicine, in regards to everything you're doing, eating, what you wear, whatever. Make sure that it feels right for you. Because if it doesn't feel right for you, I don't care what the scientific test says, it's not right for you. So I agree as far as that's concerned. In regards to whether it's working or whether you believe it's working, what science has proven is that if your intention or if your belief, for instance, someone with cancer that is potentially curable, they have seen specifically that if your intention is positive and you say affirmations and you are trying everything that you possibly can do to heal, then those people do have a better chance of healing and recovering. Versus someone who's very negative, using negative words, I'm never going to get this, I'm never going to do that. They definitely have, they don't have as positive an outcome.
So you're talking about positive reinforcement.
Yes, and that that is words in your brain, basically, or out loud. So it's including words and the feeling and the intention to potentially attract good energy, but also you put out good energy yourself in regards to the words and the intention. And I think it can really bring people forward to the next step. You know, there's a huge difference if you think about it. I actually just went through this with a client this morning, unfortunately, who has horrible, horrible cancer. And they said, why would I go through the next treatment? And the doctor said, well, because if you go through the next treatment, you won't have as much pain. You know, we're trying to get rid of some of the pain.
Mm-hmm.
So they said to me, you know, should I really do this? And I said, well, there is the grasp for life, basically. But then there's the grasp for that positiveness of being able to be out of pain, you know, grasp for that. And their whole face lit up and said, okay, now I have something to strive for. And part of that striving is energy and the words and the thinking and being able to get there.
If this positive reinforcement, the words, the prayers, the affirmations were as powerful as some believe, why is it then the medical community doesn't employ this method when it comes to the treatment of cancer and other serious diseases? In hospitals.
Oh, they are absolutely starting to. We're actually, my company, we are working with quite a few hospitals in the California area and the New York area in regards to implementing not only meditation, but positive reinforcement and what the person says, whether they pray, and they don't have to pray as much as, you know, affirmations. And like I say, the affirmation, you need to at least start to believe it. So if you don't think you're going to get that new job or whatever it happens to be able to date so-and-so, you know, depending on your age, you have to at least have the beginning of, well, I might not be able to date that person, but maybe somebody better. You know, there is somebody out there that I will be able to date that I'll have a fantastic time with. And connecting to that energy, I've never seen it fail. I just, you know, depending on, now I think what you're saying sometimes is that sometimes horrible things happen to people, no doubt about it. But what I've always found is that I don't want to say there's a reason because that sounds so trite, but there is an underlying change in the person that can be very positive. You know, after something happens, people always say to me, well, it's not that I'm glad that happened, but I'm glad of the outcome because I'm a changed person. So going back to that, going back to the energy part, my question is always, wait a minute, is there a question you can ask your intuition where you don't have to go through that huge accident, but you can change? If you get my drift. So that's part of the meditation every day. While you're doing your meditation and, you know, thinking through the day, etc., ask yourself, is there something I need to change in life that will help me get to my goals without having to go through a huge, dramatic situation? And I think you'll be surprised at some of the answers sometimes. You might not like them, you might not want to change, and you might still go there, but it is fascinating what people come up with in regards to that. But in regards to the hospitals, we're dealing with quite a few hospitals. They're starting to put on advisory committees that are called alternative medicine advisory committees, and bringing in just all kinds of things: yoga, changing meditations, acupuncture, Zen meditations.
And is all this covered by the hospital insurance or your Obamacare, or is this something extra that a patient has to pay for?
It depends on the hospital. Right before Obamacare, they started covering quite a few of these things because
Yeah.
they could see very positive results. I'm not quite sure, I don't want to get political, but I'm not quite sure if anybody knows what's covered by Obamacare right now. So I think they're still trying to figure all of that out. One of the concepts of Obamacare was that it would cover things that were more profitable.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if the theory actually got onto paper. So we'll leave that there.
I guess we'll see come January.
Right, exactly. But one of the things that the alternative medicine committees are doing, they're trying to bring forth to the patient things that the patient can do at home. For instance, say in physical therapy, as opposed to just going in for physical therapy, they give them exercises, et cetera, to take home. Now, you think, well, they've done that a long time. However, what they're including in the exercises are breathing techniques. How you can breathe in and actually
Help
think
yourself.
Think of that oxygen going to the place that needs to be healed.
All right, Kate, stand by. We've got to take our final break. Exonation, Kate Hellmer is our guest, www.your10keys.com, and we'll be back wrapping up this hour on the other side of this break here in the X Zone. Don't go away. Welcome back, Exonation. Kate Hellmer is our guest this hour. She's the author of 50 Energetic Prayers. And Kate, I was wondering if you could give us a couple of the energetic prayers that our listeners can listen to.
Absolutely. One of them is, the first one is actually what I call Path 1. And Path 1 to me is once you set your goals, so figure out your goals, and then ask your intuition during your meditations or prayers or just sitting watching the beach, what's the fastest way to get there? What's the fastest way to get to my goals? And that to me is your Path 1. It's not the most, necessarily the most spiritual. It can be, but just what's the fastest way to get there? And is it in line with what's the best thing for me? And that's key 1. Key 2 are what I call body taps, which is a scientifically proven enhanced intuition technique. What I was talking about before, where you can actually feel physically a response, yes or no, as to whether something is good for you or not, beneficial for you. So they can do this, and the alternative committees in some of the different hospitals are starting to use this technique, even though they started researching this at Harvard Medical School about 100 years ago in 1912. And what ends up happening is they've found that, for instance, you put a medicine, once you clean and clear your energy, you put a piece of medicine in your hand, and you have to, let the energy flow through you, basically. You have to, a lot of times it takes 20 or 30 times to start asking questions, and then boom, you'll start getting these answers. But you can see a muscle twitch or feel a muscle twitch when you say, is this beneficial for me? I usually use it for chocolate because my answer is always yes, but you can basically use it for anything. So I teach clients how to do that, and we have free seminars through our member site, etc. And the next one is stones and natural items, and teaching people that stones and natural items around you can actually benefit you about 10 to 20% in your life, and if people don't want to actually find out what theirs are, then use their own intuition. And, maybe it's a lit candle. Some people don't like them, some people love them, but just put around you things that make you feel good. Just relax your energy. And once you start doing that, you'll start noticing certain things do and certain things don't, and start flowing towards the things that do. And so those are the first 3. And then key number 4 is God, basically. not necessarily using that term, but the highest positive energy, and how there is, the highest positive energy. And whether you believe it's an entity or a unit or the culmination of all of our energy, it's really very important, I believe, in people's life to be able to connect to positive energy and highest positive energy to see their own life just transpire to what they want.
Kate, we've just run out of time. I want to thank you so much for joining us. X-Zone Nation, Kate Hellmer has been our guest this hour. Her website is www.your10keys.com. That's www.your10keys.com. Now, X-Zone Nation, I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Once again, you can listen to the X-Zone 724 365 at www.xzoneradiotv.com. My name is Rob McConnell. I'll be back at 6.5 minutes past the top of the hour. Don't go away.